哎，准备了。
Hello everyone, welcome to CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page, YouTube channel, as well as 英语环球广播新浪微博。大家好 welcome to Old Wisdom, New Insights. In this season of the show, we invite you to visit the hometowns of historical figures and appreciate the beauty of modern China. 今天呢，我们就来到了岳麓书院。Today we're in Yuelu Academy. This is one of the most prestigious academy in Chinese history, actually one of the top 4. It has the history of over 1,000 years, and there are still students studying here. So it's a working function university's academy. So this academy actually belongs to Hunan University. Today we're going to take an interest into this institution, have a little tour, and I will tell you how important this place is. On top of that, this is still one of our series of Visit the Hometowns of Wei Yuan, because our old friend, the one you have already known about, Mr. Wei Yuan, has studied here as well. So let's get into the academy and see how popular it is, because you can see that there are many tourists being here, studying and learning about the history of the academy, getting themselves a little bit, kind of atmosphere of the studying of the academic world, and they are in the right place. So it is going to be a very, let's say, lively live stream. It will be a little bit crowded, but it shows how popular it is. So let's go and check it out. On top, you can see the sign 千年学府. So 千年 is 1,000 year, and 学府 means academy or school or learning institution. So 千年学府 actually shows this is a place with 1,000-year-long history. Impressive, isn't it? We can go inside, and you will see that because this place has been, let's say, instructed for this long time. It has a lot of famous story, famous people happening here. And here I have a special, how do I call him, a special professor and an expert in this school, Mr. 戴老师是不是 Peter, you're here. Hi, hello.
Welcome to Yuelu Academy.
Thank you. Very happy to have you here. I have just entered, and wow, the people, the tourists
There's
here,
a lot of
yes,
people.
That's very impressive. And I am very happy to see that you're here, because you are a professor, or let's say a working professor in the Yuelu Academy, right?
I'm a professor of Ming history.
History.
I work here and teach here and do research here.
I know it's dumb to say, but I think it's very strange that you know a lot more about Ming history than I do. So that is what I said for Yuelu Academy. It is now a college of Hunan University, and it main, let's say, focused on history and philosophy.
History, philosophy, and archaeology.
So Yuelu Academy is still working. And right behind me is He Xi Tai. He Xi Tai is with a good history and good story behind it, right? It has something to do with 2 of the most important scholars and I would say philosopher in Chinese history, and they started a how do I call it, a wave of debating as well as lecturing here, and they have a little story of seeing sunrise here.
That's right. And they started a long tradition of welcoming scholars from all over to come here and talk about issues and talk about philosophy. And so the Academy is really a meeting place for people from all over China and all over the world.
Yes, so if you mind, let's see some of our audience. What are some questions you guys have? Because when we're doing live streams on Facebook, we have a lot of friends from all over the world asking questions and giving comments. I'd like to give them a shout out. Before I go up to that platform, He Xi Tai. I'm saying hello to Sumalar and to Depito. You're talking in a language that I do not really understand, but thank you so much for leaving a comment. That happens. And I'm saying hi to Jessie. Jessie, you're here. Jessie is a long-hard supporter of our platform.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, very great. Thank you, Jessie. And Louise, hello to you. And we said 千年学府. Yes, 千年学府, the 1,000-year, academy academy or a school with a 1,000-year history. And we're not exaggerating here. It's actually over 1,000 years. We just want to round the number up a little bit, so it's even longer than that.
Older than Oxford, older than Cambridge, older than Harvard.
Yeah, see? We got something I want to brag about.
We're going to brag.
We are going to brag. Okay, so let's go up there and see He Tai. Before doing that, perhaps I think it's a good opportunity for us to see the Chinese character of Yuelu Shuyuan here. Even though this is the traditional Chinese character, so Yuelu Shuyuan, you can see that these are not the characters we use these days, especially for Yue. It's much more complicated.
Much more complicated,
yes. Okay, so let's go upstairs. So why is this platform called He Tai? I know He is red and Xi is sun, right?
And I recall, wasn't it the place that these two famous scholars watched the sunset?
Yes,
That's
what I recall. Well, what I remembered. So He, the ancient Chinese, in ancient Chinese, He used to mean red. Now I think it's a little bit brownish red. And Xi is sun. He Tai, literally to nowadays simplified layman's term would be red sun platform, because on this platform these two very important figures used to watch the sunrise and see the beautiful red sun rising and 红红的太阳升起来，是不是？
That's right. These were two very good friends, and so they got together to drink tea, drink wine, write poems. The best things you can do in that time and place, and still today.
Yeah, and here we can see some poems written here. And that was the He Xi I was talking about, the two characters. And besides that, this is also the first stop you get from the Yuelu Academy. So from the front door, you get in here and see this platform. That is why behind this wall, the other side of the wall, you get to see a picture or a map of the entire Yuelu Academy. Let's take a look at the map. You can see Yuelu Academy is really constructed on the Yuelu Mountain. 是在岳麓山上修的岳麓书院啊。
In fact, Yuelu means the foot of the foot of the mountain.
Foot is better.
Because to the which direction? To the east of us is Hengshan, one of the greatest mountains in all of China.
Yes, and we are also having some other questions here. We have Vivian asking, where are we? We are here in Yuelu Academy. It is now an academy of Hunan University, concentrating on, let's see if I remember, history, philosophy, and architecture?
Archaeology.
Archaeology, yes. I remember archaeology, and it is a work-functioning academy here. Even though this is a library, well, this is a historic place, this is also a tourist destination, it's also still a working institution for students to study, to concentrate on the subject.
Yes.
And this is also where Wei Yuan, the man we've already talked about in the entire journey, have studied in. Mr. Wei Yuan is considered one of the first persons in China that opened his eyes to the Western world. We say 睁眼看世界的, because it's a little bit debatable who is the precisely first one, so we're going to call him one of the first persons, but he did write the very important 海国图志, the illustrated treatise of the maritime kingdoms, with a lot of geographical information, customs and culture related stuff, and of course a lot of maps in those books, so that he would be able to introduce the Western world to Chinese people.
And encouraging students to broaden their horizon and study more of the world.
I'd like to think we are also carrying out his spirit here. We're doing interaction of different civilizations and cultures, and standing here makes me feel like my heart got a little bit piece of my heart just get back home.
Excellent. And we hope you keep coming back again and again.
I would love to. Okay, let's continue to walk and see what are some other magnificent places in Yuelu Academy. This is really crowded and a lot of people, but that shows us that we are in the right place to show our friends on Facebook as well as YouTube and 英语环球广播微博. If we're visiting somewhere where no people, we must be, picking the wrong places. Not popular enough. But here, ooh, I see the famous couplet. That is a couplet I do know and I've heard of so many times, and it shows how, I will say, proud and how, I don't know how to call it because I want to say it with the most colorful language. This is the couplet that we need to really concentrate on a little bit, because here we have 唯楚有才，于斯为盛, which can roughly be translated as talent people are found in the place of Chu, and here it is abundant here. So, would you illustrate on it?
Yes, I think that's a wonderful way to translate it, and it, of course, it's a symbol of local pride. It's that here we produce scholars, and that there's a lot of talent, a lot of educated people.
Yes, and we can see that here. Let's take a look at the characters themselves. Here we have 唯楚有才. 唯 here in modern Chinese, 唯 carries the meaning of only, but I think it can also be understood as a sentence starting word. It's like alas.
Right, because you always want 4 characters.
You want 4
3,
characters.
so
yes.
you can add ones.
Yes, and 楚 here is talking about it is an ancient name of a place.
Ancient name of the Hunan area.
Of the Hunan, Hubei, this area, not very precise for that area, but it's Chu. And you means have. Cai, I want to ask you, why is this cai not the cai of 人才 talent, but the cai of, 材料 material? Because I heard a version of explanation, I'm not really sure if it's correct, but my version told me that 人才 is talking about talent, but when they're writing this line, they wanted to show that we're not only asking for great talents for themselves, we're also asking for 栋梁之才, so the great so-called material to build the country, to contribute to the society, to be useful to the country, and that is very important.
Yes, in the sense of being an asset. So
exactly.
An asset to the country.
Yeah, so you can try to remember these 2 Chinese characters. One, 人才, talent. It's very important, very useful to be a talent, of course, but it's even more important to be a 栋梁之才, a important asset to the country, to the society, to your community. And that is a very Chinese sentiment, I think. So, 唯楚有才. And also we have 于斯为盛.
And here in great abundance. That it's a place that there's a lot of potential, a lot of talent.
Yeah, and 于 we know is at, or it's at or amid or on, something like that. And 斯 can be understood as here or this. And the ancient sense or the original sense of 于斯为, we know 为 is have, or it's a not very precise word with a translation, and 盛 is abundant or prosperous. So previously it was talking about, there are talents in the Chu area and it is abundant here. But we can also understand it as it is abundant at this time and age, which is the modern day understanding of this couplet, which is also an understanding brought by President Xi Jinping when he was visiting this place. Yeah, so 斯 in nowadays have very, let's say, updated and greater meaning.
And the clever thing about this couplet is our dean in the 18th century pulled these two sentences from 2 different classics, 2 different ancient texts, and put them together into one.
And I think it's a thing in Chinese culture, right? If you want to write something if the first line of the couplet is from one very famous classic, you cannot really just write your own. You have to find another one that is just right to be the second verse, but also from another very important Chinese classic.
Right. And of course,
the kind of allusion.
And of course, these scholars all had all of this memorized, so they could pull these phrases out of their head. Out of their head,
yeah, just like that. Easy peasy. Not for me, but for
them. Bygone era, to be sure.
Okay, so 唯楚有才，于斯为盛. If you have to have one takeaway from today's live stream, that is that. Just right there.
And when you come here, you'll have to have your picture taken with this couplet.
Oh yeah.
That's essential. Do you want to talk briefly about that?
Yes, we do, because I am very impressed by that. And we have this saying, 墙上的文字很漂亮. The words there are very beautiful. Yes, these are all the major calligraphy, and they are all very impressive. And we are still walking towards the other door. In the Chinese architecture kind of area, we see a lot of different layers, different sheds of doors when you're walking towards a major construction compound. It is, I think the idea is that different doors and different layers represents different level of intimate between you and the owner of the place.
And you leave the outside world behind each time you go through one of these gateways.
Wow, I love that. That is a very beautiful way to put it. And right now we see another plate with 潇湘淮市. What is that? What does it mean?
So Xiao and Xiang are the two major rivers in this area, and so they come to refer to this part of China that we are in. And the Huaishi was an old marketplace in the Han Dynasty. So back in Roman times, it was a marketplace where scholars would buy their books to study. And so it's the idea of this plaque is that this represents the place of scholars for the Xiang and Xiao River region, or Hunan.
Wow, that is very beautiful. And I love it when I visit different places. There are very short names of different places with a really long explanation and history story behind it. Yeah,
that's right. Long history behind each of the couplets that we read here.
Yeah, and also in different fonts. We see that if you are watching the live stream, you can try to count how many fonts do you see in the Yuelu Academy, because different plaque, different couplets, even some long articles carved are written in different fonts. 字体都不一样, but they're all very beautiful. 您中文说得很好，原来你讲中文，哪里是标配，对不对？就是大部分的外国朋友我们见到，就是会说，哦，我的中文一点点，然后你说，哎，你中文讲很好，他会讲哪里。These things I hear a lot.
Yeah.
That is very funny. Oh, we have Shanking saying, 老师们好，听了老师们的直播，我长了不少知识，谢谢老师们的分享。Isn't that cute? And we see Jarana saying, I've had the opportunity to attend a forum in the seminar hall of Yuelu Academy. Wow, a nice memory. That's cool.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Tell all your friends. Have them come visit us.
Yes, and also, did you study Hunan University? If that's the case, let us know in the comment area further. And hello to Dinar saying, very beautiful video, very beautiful place. Also Aziz saying, beautiful place. Roger said, Niuniu Chinese, so good to see you. Hope you continue to enjoy your day. I am truly enjoying it. And you will see that I am also learning a lot from Peter. Okay, and here we are. What is this place now?
This is the lecture hall where Zhu Xi and Zhang Shi, these two scholars from the 12th century, met and exchanged their views.
Yes.
And so this is very much the heart of the academy.
And I hear, because I want to take your note on this, Zhu Xi and Zhang Shi, they are scholars of Li Xue.
Right, which we would call Neo-Confucianism in the West.
And for Neo-Confucianism, my very, very superficial understanding, very surface level understanding of it is that it is the kind of philosophy they're trying to understand the world, in a sense that they wanted to believe that there are things that we do, there are desires that humans have. Some of them are, of course, natural and proper, but some are not supposed to happen, not supposed to be that exaggerating. That is by limiting that unreasonable desire, we find the true path, the Dao of things.
Right. I think that's a very good explanation. And of course, it's also based on the idea that these principles are inside of us. So you're becoming more fulfilled as a human being through developing your moral character.
Wow,
and
but they are not in perfect sync with each other. They're not perfectly agreeing with each other, aren't they?
Right, right. They had different ideas of what the nature of those principles were and how to develop them, how to practice them in your own life.
And that is why around 800 years ago, they've had this discussion, debate style lecture in this area for over 2 months. So Zhang Shi invited Zhu Xi to come over to this place and having the discussion, having the debate, and their lecture was so successful that people started to think, it's a good idea to debate a little bit about different school of thoughts. It's a good idea to show our results to students.
Right.
So it started a huge trend of lecture in the form of debate or discussion.
Right. And even though they had philosophical differences, they were very good friends. They were very close to each other.
They see sunrise together.
Yes, seeing the sunrise together, sort of showing that good friendship and good relations overcome philosophical differences and help you develop new ways of thinking about things. Zhu Xi was from Fujian and Zhang Shi was from Sichuan. So they both came together here in Hunan to discuss some of these issues.
Yes, I think that is very beautiful. And another thing that's very important in this lecture hall is not that eye-catching, to be precise, but it is with great significance. And for that, we also have a really great teacher and guest describing that for us. So let's go and meet her. She's also a colleague of yours, right?
Yes, yes.
And how do I address her? Beibei, right?
Can
I call you
or
Beibei?
Zhang 老师.
张老师您好。
Zhang actually, but yeah. Nice to meet you.
张老师是吗
Yeah.
非常高兴今天我们能在这边见面。Very happy to meet you here in our live stream. And
Same here.
I was told that this piece of 学规, this article is very important with great significance. It's not huge in size, but it shows the essence, the quintessential of the principles we follow in Yuelu Academy. Care to elaborate on it?
Yeah, this is actually a kind of school precept or regulation or rules for the students postulated by a dean of the academy in around 17th century. And first half of them were concentrating on how to be a decent person, how to behave. So, for example, you need to attend to your parents often. You need to pay respect to the sages and worthies. So we actually have shrines of sages and worthies at the back of this lecture hall. And then you need to when you are in any activities, you need to sit or queue in order of your age or seniority.
Wow.
So this part is for, and you need to reject harmful friendship.
I think I can recognize some of them. We can see that the very first sentence is 时常请问父母. It
Yes.
means to visit your parents, right?
Yeah,
visit your
attend
parents.
your parents. Yeah.
Yes, constantly. So again, for Chinese people, it is very important to have a high moral standard for themselves. Of
Yeah.
course, morals for yourself, not for others. But still, making sure you visit your parents. Filial piety, we say,
Yeah.
孝, very
Filial
important in the
piety.
Chinese
Yeah.
philosophy system. So for this first half, the 9 verses.
Oh, it's actually because up and
Oh,
down,
sorry.
so it's up to here.
Here, okay, so
Yeah.
the first 9 verses are about being a decent person, being someone decent and honorable, being
Yeah.
someone knowing how to act, knowing how to interact. And if you guys can take a look at it and make a screenshot, this is a good way to learn your Chinese as well, learning to
Yeah.
be someone great and someone who knows how to be a student, apparently for the second part. For the second part, I can see 日讲经书3起, 说
Yeah.
一天要读3遍吗?
Yes, it's kind of we were been discussing this matter whether it's literally 3 times or it's
many times.
it's just as often as you can. Yeah.
Oh, 3
3 is often used for often.
Yeah, so
repeatedly.
we were trying to figure that out, and
再三.
but Jingshu is referring to Confucian classics, of course, specifically, and the next one you're actually quite good at picking up these lines because the next one is about Gangmu. It's a type of one of the historical works. So this,
Principles in history.
yeah, so that's actually shows us the two main subjects that they learned back at the time. So about Confucian classics and histories, and this is still one of the speciality of the academy today as well.
Yes, so that is why this academy has such a long history and such a great heritage. That is because students, generations after generation, students and teachers carried out these principles, they followed it, they pass it to the next generation, and they make sure that being someone with great moral standards as well as someone with great academic results are here, just like our two professors.
You know, when I was younger, I didn't think filial piety was that important, but now that I'm an old guy, I think it's extremely
Especially
important.
with his children.
Yeah, that's very different.
Right.
Being the devoter and the beneficiary. So
Exactly,
different.
exactly. It starts to make more sense the older you
Makes
get.
more sense. But I think that is the beauty of it. It's just like when you're at a different stage of your life, you realize that something your parents said actually makes sense for a good reason.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah. 中国人民喜欢说，不听老人言，吃亏在眼前。我觉得还是有道理的。
真的有道理，真的有道理。
So 不听 is don't listen to. 老人 is senior folks. 言 is the things they say, the things they try to teach you. 吃亏在眼前 means you will fall into a pit the minute you don't listen to them, don't follow their advice.
That's right.
Yeah, so kind of learn from ancient experience as well. Some
Yes.
historical experience.
And both of you are historians in the Yuelu Academy, and you both translated these together, right?
Yeah, not only
Into
us,
English.
not only us. We have
We have a group of people, a committee that gets together and translates different texts, mostly related to academies.
So where can we find it?
We are trying to make a collection out of it. For this one, we will post it online soon. But
Great.
for
Great.
others,
So
maybe you can look for further works.
If you're interested in it,
Yeah.
you can try to find it online and learn more about the history of the Yuelu Academy, some fun stories as well as, some very complicated, yet will make you look knowledgeable kind of things online so that you can learn about Chinese culture, Chinese language. And I want to ask you, because you are a historian of Ming Dynasty, so do you read Chinese texts or English or both?
I work with both John Lauscher and I work with original Chinese texts from the time period.
Wow. So I don't think I can even understand many of them, but yeah, that is pretty cool. And I asked that question because we talked about Weiyuan, and for our entire journey, I arrived in Hunan province Monday, and we went to the Weiyuan house, Weiyuan's old house, Weiyuan Guju, because we wanted to, figure out his childhood story and see what has been happening to this great mind, what actually, let's say, nurtured this great mind from when he was just a little boy.
Yes,
so that
yes.
was the idea. So I want to ask you, because he wrote this entire masterpiece about foreign countries, but he didn't really understand English. That is why I want to ask you, did you have the stage in your life that you studied for a specific subject, but you didn't really understand the language yet? Or you never experienced it?
Well, actually, I studied Chinese first and then had to figure out what I was going to do with it. And so I moved from the language into literature and history.
So Chinese language characters, four tones, were just not challenging enough for you, huh?
That's right, that's right. Well, learning a language is like a sport. Once you start, you can't stop or you lose it. So I had to find something where I could keep using my Chinese, knowing that it would disappear very, very quickly if I stopped using it.
For our page, I think you are a great inspiration because we are called Learn Chinese Facebook page. A
Yes,
lot
yes.
of our online friends complain about, wow, Chinese is so complicated, the four tones, the picture-like characters, I cannot figure them out. But yes, you can.
Yes, indeed. And think of it as being like basketball. Basketball is very complicated, but if you practice it every day, you get better and better.
You get better and better. We say this a lot, but not often enough. 熟能生巧. 熟能生巧 is very important. 熟能生巧. Okay, let's have another shout out to our friends on Facebook. We have Joe Pico saying So Jen. I'm not really sure what you're saying, but thank you for sharing a comment. And Zishi is saying it's really great, and you're sending love from Pakistan. We have Pakistani friends. Yes, thank you. Aziz is saying 祝中国人民有美好的一天。好的，那我就代表中国人民谢谢你，谢谢 ，Thank you very much. And Aziz saying 这个地方很漂亮，我非常喜欢。
欢迎欢迎。
对，我希望可以很快去。中国人很好。I got all these lovely messages from this platform. It makes me happy every time. Yeah. And David is, I think, making a wish because we are in a great place and he wanted to have new job, new friend, new girlfriend, new neighbors. Wow, many new things. Vivian saying it's really learning live stream. Great job to all staff. Thank you very much. 感谢. Hello to Giovanni as well as to Mom Taju. Thank you guys so much for your comment. Right now we're standing just outside of another very important spot here in Yuelu Shuyuan. Because for ancient people, ancient Chinese people, Shuyuan is a place where you study, you make really good and important friends for your future life, and you can also live here. Yeah. So there are dorms. So are we standing in the dormy area?
One part of the dorm. We have on the other side we also have an area as such for students.
Yes. So in Chinese language we say 舍. 舍 is a place you reside. 舍. And 宿舍 nowadays that's the dormitory. And this do we call it 学舍 or?
I think here it's more using 斋.
斋 书斋是吗？
学斋.
学斋.
Yeah.
See many different expressions. I mix them up a lot, so don't worry about using the wrong expressions.
We all mix them up.
So for 学斋, it's the place students stay, live, and also study.
Yeah.
And this specific one is a little bit more important than the other ones is because this is a dorm that Chairman Mao used to live in, right? Okay,
yeah.
Let's get in and take a look. Here we see there is an office of Chairman Mao, and well, actually there is this is the office. Oh, excuse me, I got a little bit. This is the office of the original or office of former committee for Hunan University. So it's a Tory committee. We say 筹备处 is just like preparation. 筹备 is prepare for, preparation. 筹备 I think it's a very official word. 筹备 we say 准备 that's prepare, but 筹备 is like if you're preparing for something major and significant, then it will be 筹备. So a major word 筹备办公室 we know office 办公室 and right there opposite of it. Direct opposite of it, ta-da! The very important bedroom of Mao Zedong. Why am I saying very important bedroom? That is a very strange expression. But he used to live here, right?
Yeah, actually it's connected to that preparation for the Hunan University because in the early Republic period, that's early 20th century, and a bunch of local gentry devoted to convert the academy to modernize the university. So as we said, the traditional subjects for the academy were Confucian classics and history. But by the time we also have technologies, we have chemistry, we have physics. So Mao Zedong was actually involved in that procedure of converting the academy to the university, and he played a fairly important role at the time. And as you know, Mao Zedong was a Hunan local, so he was very young at the time. So nowadays we actually used to think some of the traditional source of the academy might have influenced him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I heard a fun story saying that the first actual or modern sense of light was brought by one of the head of the mountain, of Yuelu Mountain. We call him Shanzhang, but I think it's the head of the academy.
Yes.
And he
because we
used to
own
be-
the mountain, that's
Yes.
why we call Shanzhang.
See, bragging again on the mountain. Yes, Shanzhang. Zhang would be the chair, the head of it, and Shanzhang is, the let's say manager of the mountain, boss of mountain, and the boss of mountain used to be somehow the equivalent of the minister of education in Qing Dynasty, and he brought back light because he started an electricity, let's say, factory here around the area, and he let's say, bring modern electricity as well as lights, all these technology here, and he is also the one that added translation as well as technology to the academy. That's what I heard.
We should use that we've been bringing enlightenment for a long time.
Right? Bringing
Yes.
enlightenment. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I think there was the curriculum included translation as early as the end of 19th century.
Yes.
So it's actually modernized quite early, and also actually I think there on the board there somewhere it says that Mao Zedong actually used his calligraphy for the name of the Hunan Daxue. So now if you find it on different buildings of this area.
We will have Hunan Daxue. And also in this, I think this part is still considered the tourist area of the academy, and you would see all the plates are written in 3 different languages. Well, actually 4 different languages. We have Chinese to start with, and English, Japanese, as well as Korean. According to Peter, that suggests these are the main foreign tourists of this place, right?
Yes.
Indeed.
But of course we welcome tourists from all over the world. The more the better.
All over the world, yes.
And we welcome you to provide your translation to us.
And if you speak Chinese, that'll be even better.
Yeah,
If you don't,
indeed.
you can follow our page. Okay, let's continue to walk. For those of you who have just joined the live stream, this is Niuniu with CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page and YouTube channel, as well as 英语环球广播微博. We welcome you to post any questions and comments you have. And if you have any questions, I will answer them. If I can't, which most possibly I can't, I will ask these 2 experts beside me, and these are Peter and Beibei with us today. They are both professors, doctors in Yuelu Academy, and they study his history, and that is a very interesting subject. Actually, I've been watching this TV series called Timeless. They travel to different times in history and try to prevent the villains from changing it. I think you 2 are going to be great on that job if we send you back to the Ming Dynasty.
Yes,
and
we will keep
prevent
villains from changing the Ming Dynasty.
Yeah, protect the history. It'll be a cool job. Okay, so, by the way, history, 历史. So, yeah, something fascinating, and it's supposed to be something that's no longer changing, but with further studying and, let's say, digging out the more details and materials, perhaps something will change, or our understanding towards it will change and be more specific and precise and correct, closer to what actually happened.
And with new technologies to analyze these materials, new technologies is one of the specialties of Beibei Laoshi.
Oh, Beibei Laoshi, care to elaborate on it?
Yeah, actually, there is a new trend of digital humanity, which use digital technology to assist humanity research, and we are doing different experiments here. For example, now we are collaborating with our architecture school, so the one, and we are trying to build, to construct a 3D model for what the academy looks like
Model.
Wow!
Back in 17th century, 18th century.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit different because actually the the actual layout of the academy somehow followed that model, but still there are differences. And because of like wars and other disasters destroyed some of the architecture, so we want to see how it looks like. And of course, the students' work here are different. So I think it's a very nice visual representation.
So, which stage are you at? Am I allowed to wear a VR goggle and just sit in a room and I can find different time and I'll see what it looks like in different times?
This is combining research and development. So we are now still working on the model itself, but yeah, that's a future plan.
Wow, that'd be super cool.
And also, Bebe Lauscher is uniquely qualified for this because she's a double doctor. Her first PhD was in computer science, and her second one was in history, so she's twice the academic that the rest of us are.
That makes me nervous about making any promises, but yeah, we hope to bring new technology and to promote Chinese culture that way.
In the Chinese, let's say, categorized system, we have 文科 和理科. So 文科 includes those subjects, including, for example, history, literature, philosophy. So these are considered the subject where you do not use a lot of math, but you learn a lot of a lot of information by your heart, and you figure out the inner connection between it. So something like that. And we also have the science subject, the science stream, so the 理科.
Science and engineering.
Engineering, yes. And you are great at both. That's considered two, very different.
She bridges these two different academic worlds.
Yeah, hopefully I can bring something innovative.
So in the future, hopefully, I can not only wear a VR goggle, allowing me to travel in time looking at the Yuelu Academy, but also at the same time, perhaps wearing a Google Glass or Huawei glasses, so that I can walk around and I can click on it and see, this place used to look like this.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Some people walking there, so that would be super cool. So 虚拟 or 增强现实 in that sense. 增强现实, affiliated reality. 增强现实. Okay, this is a good occasion for me to check out what are some messages we've got from Learn Chinese Facebook page. We have Vivian saying, yes, it's complicated, but if you have passion to learn it, it will be more interesting. That's true. And we have 熟能生巧，大家非常努力的学习熟能生巧. That's to start with. Good spirit right there. And we have Huan Su saying, 谢谢主持人展示这么美好的地方，你们要去看看孔子雕像吗？是的，我们后面就有孔子的画像。There's a portrait of Confucius himself. We can take a look. So this place on top, the plaque said 万世师表. 万世 would be 万 would be 10,000, but here it represents all the generations. 世 again, generations or different times, and 师表 is talking about the teacher. So he's considered the teacher of Chinese people.
A model for teaching.
Yes. Okay, so this is, how do we call this place? Is there a beautiful name for this hall?
The
Great Achievement
Hall. The
Hall
of Great Achievement.
Hall of Great Achievement. Yes.
To Confucius's achievement.
So 这里就是大成殿了，大成殿. So 大 is great or big or major. 成 means, for example, if you're talking about 成功, that's success. If you're talking about 成就, that's achievements. And if you talk about 成为, that's become. So you can understand it from, in all these different ways, making it really difficult
to perfection.
Or even perfection, yes. So I want to ask you, because you're both bilingual, am I making it, are you speaking multiple languages, or bilingual works?
Bilingual.
Okay, you're both bilingual professors, so you must do many translation work as well. And I think it's hard to translate traditional Chinese into English because there are so many different ways to understand it already, from traditional Chinese to simplified Chinese or modern day Chinese. So how do you choose, or what are some process you go through when you're doing translation?
Well, it's often even more complicated than that in that Chinese language keeps changing. So something that had one meaning in the Tang Dynasty might mean something later in the Song Dynasty and then later in the Ming Dynasty. So we have to spend a lot of time discussing what an author's original intentions were, what mattered to him or her, and how they chose their words.
Yeah, it's about the choice.
So cross-checking different information is also very important. Well, actually, it's vital in the sense.
Yeah, because many meanings depends on its context. So you probably need to understand more about the context before you can translate it really properly.
You have no idea how glad I am right now, because I say this so often to our friends learning Chinese. I say this, it's a high context language. It's very...
Context is everything.
Yes, everything. And don't ask me how to say this word, because sometimes you say it differently in different...
Yeah, you need to tell us the context.
You need to give me the context before you ask me to translate it. And ta-da, someone else is saying it as well. I'm not lying to you.
I think
you should all listen to Niuniu.
Yeah, you should all listen to her.
Thank you. And we are also live streaming on 英语环球广播. Let's see. We do have some questions here. We have 也不尽然呀 saying 好多游客. Yes, this is very crowded, but we are moving towards the less populated area in Yuelu Academy, because I think we've moved past the very famous couplets 为厨有才于斯为盛, which can be translated originally as there are talents in the place of chu and it is abundant here, or you can understand it in a modern sense in Chinese President Xi Jinping's sense, that is, it is in the place of Chu, there are many talents, and at this time, it is even more prosperous. I think it's a very beautiful way to understand it, right? And also, if you guys have any other questions, please ask them in the comment area. We welcome all the questions we can have. And at the same time, if you like the live stream, please like and share and comment as much as possible. It will help us a lot, and also help other fellow Chinese learners to find us, to know that context is everything, and also to know that we have this amazing academy here in Hunan province. And I asked about cross-checking different information. I think that is also Mr. Wei Yuan did. If you still remember him, he is the main character of the series of Old Wisdom, New Insights. In this season, we invite you to visit the hometowns of historical figures and check out, appreciate the beauty of modern China. And I have to say, Yuelu Academy is just the right place to do that, because there is the history, there is the long story and great background, and also it is showcasing the modern China. So let's move on to the modern part, because I believe there are still students in this area studying and doing academic work.
We have about, you said 400 students?
Yeah, if you remember, we're still in the Hall of Great Achievements, so we go through it, and at the back of it, it's normally not allowed for the tourists, actually.
This is a special treat.
You have the privilege to access it.
Let's take a look at that. Isn't it fun? Okay, so for those of you, let's check out this. I know it's not something historical or specific, but it says 教学区域谢绝入内. So 教学 would be teaching. 教学, actually, 教 is teach, whereas 学 is to study. So in the Chinese language, 教学 teaching, it actually includes both teaching and studying already. 教学区域 is area, 区域 area. 谢绝入内. This is fun because Chinese people are very, very polite when they're saying, please don't come in. They say, please don't come in. Thank you for not coming in. So non-visiting area, no entry. But because of today's live stream, this is a special treat. If you're visiting here yourself, you might not be able, well, you're definitely not able to come in here, but you're with two great professors, and let's go inside. And we're going to be a little bit more quiet than before, and we're going to go inside and see what's inside there. Let's go. We have Huan Su talking about 编钟. Are you talking about the rock hanging up there beside or
Yeah.
inside Dacheng Dian.
Yeah, I think it's Bianqing, but I can't
Bianqing,
remember
yeah.
it well. Yeah, it's because this is a place for ritual practice for
Yes.
offering to the Confucius. Incidentally, we actually make offering to Confucius having a ceremony each year. So we have that for music.
And
Yes.
at the beginning of the school year, all the students come into that courtyard
Yes.
for a ritual of respect for Confucius.
Actually, in the academy, there are different functions as well. They teach here, and also it is functioning as a library. It is also functioning as a maybe ceremonial area. So we say 祭祀. They
Yeah.
do
Yes,
ceremony
yes.
here as
Yeah,
well.
ceremonies.
So you mentioned something about Confucius' birthday.
Yeah.
Something special happening on that day?
Yeah, it's now officially it's kind of 28th of September, and normally there will be a global offering. So there are offerings at the Confucian Temple in Shandong as well, and in our academy, our staff, our professors, and the first-year students will attend that ceremony. So it also has a live stream, and it's quite solemn here, just to educate somehow the first lesson for the student.
Yes, I think it'll be something very meaningful and also very beautiful.
Yeah,
And right beside these two, we have two buildings. They have
We have
beautiful
a private
names.
stream.
Oh yeah, there's one back there. They're students, right? We have students standing.
Yeah.
你们好，你们是这边学生吗？不要很紧张的样子。Don't show frightened rabbit look. It's fine. We're doing a live stream here in Yuelu Academy, and I know we're entering the studying area, so sorry to interrupt you, but thank you for showcasing that this is a live academy and you're still studying here. Thank you. 对。See, the teachers are here. They're showing their teacher side. Very serious. And let's see if there's any. We have Giovanni saying, you're brilliant in English and Chinese. Thank you for saying that. Jessie saying, amazing university we are at today. Yes, this is Hunan University and precisely Yuelu Academy. Yuelu Shuyuan. So how's the word Shuyuan become academy in English?
Well, that goes all the way back to the 16th century Jesuit missionary Li Ma Do, or Matteo Ricci, who came to visit. I don't think he came to Yuelu Shuyuan, but he came to other academies in China and had never seen such a thing before. And he said, this is something like in Italy, where we have academia, which are places that scholars get together and talk about ideas and exchange views. And so since the time of Li Ma Do, of Matteo Ricci, the Shuyuan we've translated them as academies.
Yes, and I think it's a very accurate translation because we do have different school of thoughts come here and interact with each other, have this let's say, collision of thoughts and maybe sparkle something new and achieve something new. And that is what we are also trying to do virtually online by doing these live streams. Hopefully we can bring you, or it's the second best thing, then you actually come here. But what we can do is to bring you to these amazing places in China to visit the historical part of it as well as enjoying the modern part of it. And as you can see, it is drizzling a little bit already, and it's the weather in Changsha.
We already enjoyed the good weather.
Yeah, we did. We did. It's a beautiful day
We used
today.
our allotment of nice weather for the day.
Yes, the better half of it. And thank you guys so very much for being here with us for this almost 1 hour. And in this 1 hour, we visit the Yuelu Academy. We talked a little bit about the history as well as the famous people, including Zhu Xi and Zhang Shi, and of course our Wei Yuan, who had his study here and made a lot of good friends here. So if you guys can give some I'll address these questions for both of you separately. So for Peter, if you can give some advice to our friends online, especially those from overseas countries, about if they're interested in China and they want to learn more, they want to have a better idea about the country, about the society, any specific suggestions to them?
I think the best suggestion is to keep working on your Chinese and keep learning from Niuniu whenever you can. That it really, there's a lot to learn in English and other languages about China, but to really get a deeper understanding of what this place is all about, it is better to use the language that Chinese people use and have used for a long time. It gives you deeper insights and a deeper sensibility of this culture.
Yes, that is very beautiful. Thank you very much. And for Bebe, I want to ask you, because you are born, or you have a fair share of experience living in other countries outside of China. So anything you want to tell people, or from your own experience, anything you think they should know from you? Like, you've met any bias or any difficulty in them understanding you? Anything you want to share?
Actually, because Peter brought up that I had 2 PhDs, and one of the most important reasons that I choose to study humanity is on Chinese history, of course, is I sense the cultural difference. But honestly, my experience overseas was very good. I actually had a very good memory of it. But on the other hand, it's not to say we understand. Like, for example, for my first PhD, I have an Italian supervisor, and we were really good friends. But still, it's not to say that we can understand each other fully. It's just I discovered there are stereotypes towards Chinese people and Italian people. For example, he was like, I think Chinese people are more open than Italians. I was like, oh no, that kind of contradicts all my stereotypes. But of course, that's another thing. And after our conversation, we discovered that's another misunderstanding. So I think my experience just tells me that understanding each other is difficult, but it's possible and it's necessary. So that's what my message would be.
I think it's a very beautiful message, and from what you have said, I think it's safe to say when we know each other from an individual basis, when you know someone as a person, not as a Chinese person or English person, when you know someone as who they are, you don't really care about the bias or the stereotypes anymore. You know who they are, and that is the best way to get to know a person, get to know a community, and get to know a country. So thank you guys so much. Let's have a final shout out before we conclude today's live stream. Thank you, Meton, for saying enjoying it very much, and we have Dinesh saying 谢谢你, thank you, you are very welcome. Max saying 学院等于 academy. Yes, 学院 academy. 学院 is a little bit different than 学校 school. I think it carries a deeper sentiment of different thoughts, different school of thoughts. And we have Simon from Weinei Ruila and Jessie saying thank you, special guest, thank you very much, and also 你好, 你好. Thank you guys so much for watching the live stream. We are in our special series Old Wisdom, New Insights. In the second season, we take you to the hometowns of historical figures and appreciate the beauty of modern-day China. Hopefully, you're enjoying this. In the future, there will be a more important historical figure in the Chinese history that we will be introducing to you, and hopefully, you can stay with us. Stay with CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page, YouTube channel, and 英语环球广播的微博。非常感谢大家1个小时的陪伴，我们下次再见，拜拜，谢谢两位，拜拜，
谢谢大家，